Yo, whoa, hey guys, everybody, welcome to Coast Connection, Embrace the Power. We have Christy and Eileen on today, and we're going to just talk about some of the struggles that people face. And we're not just talking about veterans. Everybody has post-traumatic stress, and it depends on what area you come from. And some people take medication, some people don't. Sometimes people have pets that come into their lives that make their lives a lot better. And that's what we're going to talk about, because we have a great author and a great individual that's on the national team that, is handling her business, and Christy is on point. But one thing she does do is she takes people, puts pets and people together to make the world a little bit better. And Eileen tells the story. Oh, that's what I'm talking about. All right, so with no further ado, hey, Christy, go, and then Eileen, go and kind of tell us where you guys are at, and then how you guys met. And hey, everybody can hear everybody, so let's make it happen.
I apologize if you can hear the little puppy, but
hey, we don't care. We don't care.
So I'm up here in Maine. Just before the show, I finished Poop Patrol in the fresh fallen snow. Running mission working dogs. We've got 40 dogs in our program now, wow. But 13 currently live with me. I've got one on each side right now, hanging out, waiting for their turn on camera.
All right, Eileen, what you got?
I live in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, and I do have a book series, Unforgettable Faces and Stories, and I met Christy back in 2014, actually, and she wrote a story in one of my books called Pet Tales, and she wrote about Moxie, her service dog, and that's how we met. And Christy plays sled hockey and plays around in the New England area. So Danny and I would try to, go and watch her play at some of the games. And we actually just saw her a couple weeks ago, I think, in New Hampshire playing. And we just always stayed in touch with social media the way it is. And then I saw an interview that Steve Hartman had done on Christy. And she talked about Lucky, the little puppy, and she can tell you more about him. And I cried and I cried and I cried when I saw it. And I got in touch with Christy and said, Christy, I just saw Steve Hartman's interview with you. Can I do a book on you, Lucky, and Moxie? And she said, sure. So that's how we started.
So, hey, so Christy, I see you're a WNT amputee. So can you kind of give us a background on what your journey was and how you ended up, where you're at today, and and now that you're on the national team, your journey to the national team?
Yeah, sure. I joined the Army, delayed entry in October of 2004, and I served as a military police officer. I was injured in summer of 2006. So ultimately I had skull fractures, facial fractures, spinal cord injury, organ damage, both legs, and actually 2 fingers to go with it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm tracking you. I'm
all good. And they made me taller, so it's got some perks. But it took 5 years of rehab, a year and a half on active duty, and 3.5 more at the VA doing physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech therapy. With that brain injury, I started over again at the 3rd grade. So kind of learning how to talk to you like this and everything that goes with it. I do still stutter on occasion or stumble on words, but mostly I'll talk your ear off.
Well, Christy, you play sports still. You train the dogs and you play sports. So that's amazing. Good comeback.
I love it. I've actually been on the national team for hockey now for 12 seasons. For sled hockey, and our men actually won gold in the Paralympics overnight.
All right.
And then I was an alternate for Tokyo for track and field. I'm 8th in the world right now in shot put. I was 5th in the world last year.
Yeah, that's what I heard. And so being a high aspiring athlete, or at the level that you compete at, and you're managing all your other things going on with your nonprofit and the dogs, how do you kind of manage both those worlds? Because I know the amount of energy and time it takes to get to the elite level. Many try, very few get there, and you've gotten there. So, can you kind of get into some background on, how that journey is for you on a regular basis?
Yeah, I was blessed that I was an athlete growing up, and I went to college on athletic scholarships before I joined the Army. So some of that's carried over. I started doing adaptive sports again to cope with everything that went wrong. I know, especially like with PTSD, it's better to stay busy. You don't have time to let the bad thoughts hit you.
No, absolutely. You're spot on that one. You got to keep it rolling.
Yeah. So basically, my life runs that way. I keep it rolling from about 6:30 in the morning till about 10 at night, and I crash hard and get up and do it over again.
Oh, well, you can hang out with Mike G then, because Mike gets up about 6:30. He knows I'm at 4 o'clock kind of guy.
Yeah, I can't do that. I can't. No, I need to rest. I need to rest.
Right. Recharge a little bit.
So Eileen, you're such a big fan. So I'm you're a super fan of Christy, and the things is, so what made you, when you sat down and you asked her to write the story, and I read the story, and thanks for sending the book. But what was the main reason that when you saw the story that you were trying to capture when you wrote it? What were you really trying to capture so that their takeaways from the students that'll read the book or anyone that reads the book? What was the massive takeaway you wanted people to have after reading the book?
Well, first of all, I think I'll just go back a little bit. In 2011, my dad had died of lung cancer, and my dad was a Marine, and he died in Iwo Jima.
Sorry about that.
And which I never knew until 3 months before he died. Of course, you're going through all these things, and being a part of the Greatest Generation, they never talked about the war.
Right.
That's something that the Greatest Generation just did not do. So I have a quote that I had read, and it said, you go through life getting things, and then you find out that your purpose in life is giving things. And I started my series just as a healing process to go through. That's what they tell you, when you go through something, you write it down and you journal it. So I was going through, and I had done about 8 books, which Christy participated in the one I had mentioned. And the last one that I wrote, my 8th one, was Patriots of Courage, Tributes to First Responders. And the people that I met all over the world are incredible. So I really wanted to give back to the military in honor of my dad, and just in honor of the military, what you all, because you're Army, thank you for your service. And I wanted to give back, and I just was looking for something. And my husband had been diagnosed with cancer that same year in 2019, and I didn't really want to look, and I was looking for something. And knowing Christy, and Christy actually lives where my husband grew up, and we used to go up there periodically. And of course, Christy is so inspirational anyways. You meet her, and she's just very inspiring and to all ages. And I saw that interview, and then I saw puppies. Who doesn't like puppies, right?
Mike,
it hit me that
Mike. No, I'm joking.
I wanted the takeaway of the book to be about anti-bullying, about being different is okay, because we're all different. Some are on the inside and some are on the outside. And also to never give up on your dream, because Lucky's dream was to always be a therapy dog. And that's what Christy trained him to be. And that's where he is today. He is in Leeds Central School as a therapy dog. And I tell people the book is for people between the ages of 2 and 92. And I truly believe that, because adults can be so mean sometimes to other people because they're different. And we all need to be reminded that it's okay to be different, and we're all in this world together. So that's my...
Yeah, that was beautiful. And and Mike was just showing the video of Lucky and the challenges. It's easy to say I understand, Chrissy, but I don't understand, because I have never been through it. I've been to war multiple times, I did 30 years, but I don't understand. So kind of, walk me through. I know that you said you had to go through rehab, but I'm going to tell you, having to relearn how to walk and speak was difficult, as you put it. But, as you went through your journey, when did you start kind of leaning on the dogs as part of the process? Because, you're always going to have moments. And so how do you try to mitigate your moments by staying active? But when did these guys, the dogs, come into your life to kind of make that difference for you?
Honestly, they asked me to apply when I was still on active duty because the wait time is so long to get a service dog. They do take about 2 years of training.
Wow.
You said you wanted a dog, so Doug's obliging over here.
Listen, that's why we're here, because the dogs is what we're about. Mike's allergies aren't going to mess up because you're there. But no, so do not kick my dog off the screen. You let him have his love, and then just keep telling your story. Oh God, I also have cats, and they're knocking stuff over now. They're nuts. While I was on active duty, they told me to apply, and in 2009, I got paired with Moxie, and she's a dark red golden, or she used to be dark red like this kid, but now she's completely gray. Right.
And she's yelling at the kids for causing trouble. So Moxie was phenomenal for me. She was trained in both mobility assistance. So if I drop stuff, she could pick it up. She could pull my wheelchair. She can turn on and off the lights. So at my old house, I'd go to bed and I don't have sensation in my stumps because of my spinal cord injury. So when I take my legs off at night, I have to check and make sure there's not blisters and wounds and stuff like that. Snapple.
It's all right. Hold on. Yes. Before you go any further. So what you're saying is you don't have any feeling back there in your legs?
Down at the bottom, I don't. I can feel to my 8.
Okay.
Yeah, I was lucky that it's a lumbar spinal cord injury, so I can still walk on the prosthetics.
Okay, cool.
I did about 8 years of limb salvage first. So that's way worse than being an amputee. Just kind of using a wheelchair. The doctor said my feet were too fragile, so I should use my wheelchair and sit on the couch and do nothing for the rest of my life. And that's not where I was going. That's not appealing to me. And there were all these amputees at Walter Reed that could walk around and, do stairs and carry stuff past me. And I was like, well, what the hell? I want a shot at that.
Right.
And they said, well, not everyone can walk on prosthetics. And I said, well, I'd rather at least try. This is Belle, by the way.
Belle, what's up? So, so when you learn to walk on the prosthetics, how long did it take you? Because you know what? I was at Walter Reed because I was at Fort Belvoir, and at the beginning of the war when people were getting injured, I saw the evolution of prosthetics from when we first started to where we are now, and it's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's insane. So I did limb salvage for 8 years, and then amputated, and I was walking 13 weeks later.
Wow.
So it's kind of nuts. I was back in the gym 2 days after it, hold my legs up and still bench press. That's me and Doug from class just the other day.
Love that.
Those prosthetics that you see in the picture they're actually meant for hiking and trail running. So there's a little ball on it called a torsion unit, and it's like a racquetball that shock absorbs and has 30 degrees of range of motion. So it's kind of neat the way they engineered those to shock absorb and to wiggle. So if I step on a root or a rock or even something as dumb as an acorn, it doesn't pitch me over sideways like with the old prosthetics.
Wow.
Yeah, the original stuff is really rigid. It's like walking in a walking cast.
So let me ask you, what is the average cost of these prosthetics now? Because I know they got to be off chain, but I'm not saying because cost shouldn't matter, but people should have an idea of that. That's the amount of money it takes to care. So the next time someone's asking about why should I donate to this or donate to that, they need to understand, hey, this stuff's not cheap, and it's about taking care of the blood and treasure of the people that fight for this country. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So the ones that I'm wearing right now are $18K a piece.
Whoa.
So if you put that per leg, you're looking at a really nice car.
Yeah. Well, I don't know anymore because cars. I was looking at they're $100,000 now.
I was gonna say maybe my used pickup that I just got.
Yeah, there you go. The used pickup. Hey, So Eileen, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I run too. I like to run 5Ks, and those are $40,000 a piece.
So they're different.
Yeah, so I have different ones. I even have special ones, like we're having a gala at the end of April. And in order to wear shoes that have like a pitch, like a heel, I have to have this special foot. It's funny because it's called the runway. but it's meant for high heel shoes, and it has an adjustable ankle so that you can like click the notch for the pitch of the shoe.
Oh, I'll let Tyra Banks know so they get you on run with it.
Right.
Oh, that's a good one. Hey, so Eileen, I got a question for you. All right, so you guys have became really good friends. So I saw that you guys are looking at probably working on another project. So what is the second book going to be about that I saw that you said you're kind of working on? So kind of walk us through where you guys are at on that. I know you guys were looking for, you guys are getting it funded and doing all that, the rough stuff that it takes to make something great happen. So where are you guys at?
We are Lucky 2 is at the publisher right now, and that should be out May or June. And yes, we ask for sponsorships to help absorb the cost of the book, because it is quite expensive to do that, the illustrator and the whole book process. And then proceeds from the book go to Christy's nonprofit Mission Working Dogs. And that book right there, COVID kind of put us back a year, pushed everybody back a year from what they wanted to do. But so Lucky 2 picks up where Lucky's leg gets amputated and then goes through. And then, without telling you too much of the story, it works up where Christy has her plans to build her training facility, Mission Working Dogs. And she has, Doug comes into play because Moxie retired. So Doug is Christy's personal service dog now. So okay. Doug comes into play with Lucky. So that kind of sets up for Lucky 3. And that's it has not been in print yet, but yeah, so we have some big plans for Lucky and where he's going, but it's all good because of the lessons in life that it teaches, and that's the biggest thing.
Oh, it might be a movie, Lucky.
I'm sorry,
20th Century Fox presents Lucky.
Well,
true story.
Poor Christy. I my head spins all the time with all these ideas and things that I'm doing and connecting on Twitter and LinkedIn with you, Vince. But Christy doesn't know this yet, but I'm working with a company in Nashville on making a theme song for Lucky.
So
okay. I have a Zoom interview with them next
exclusive.
week. And Lucky will be an animated film.
Animated
film.
Hey, that is awesome. So look at it, even Christy smiling.
And my other goal is I'd like to have Lucky be afloat in the Macy's Day Parade, because the Macy's Day Parade is for kids. But what about kids that have a disability on the outside?
Right.
What's in the Macy's Day Parade? I sit there and I watch it every year. That's my thing. And there isn't any. There isn't anything, recognition really for veterans.
Oh, absolutely. And don't get me started with it. I'll be here all day.
So that's where where I would like to go, with Christy with that. And really get a message out.
Hey, so Christy, you guys are doing a lot. So, what message? I see you talking and might show the videos and you're talking in front of people all the time, and and people are always going to ask you the same story over and over. So, what message do you kind of try to leave kids with? Because I'm going to tell you, today's teenagers, and I do teach on the side now and then a lot. They're struggling, and they're struggling with post-traumatic stress from different situations these days, and a lot of them are pet owners. And I think the reason I've gotten through life and a lot of hard times is because I've had pets my whole life. So, what kind of advice do you give young people? Because we have a high suicide rate. Let's just be clear about this. We have a high suicide rate with men, young males, and then adults in some areas. But when you find out, we are at the time in our society, and the numbers show this, people are more lonelier and dying alone now in our history than ever before. So what kind of advice would you give anyone, maybe an adult or even a kid, on how to kind of change that narrative and say, you're not alone. Hey, there's not, find a pet, go visit if your parents won't let you have a dog, volunteer somewhere, and then we'll talk about your nonprofit. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, really, like you just said, the volunteerism and getting out there, especially if you can't have your own, or even just if you got to give back, or you got community service hours for school or other reasons, volunteering at a shelter. For me, it's really finding your path and your purpose, because we all come from different backgrounds and different situations that way. And you never know where life's going to take you. But I think so many people are stressed out and hung up on, I've got to be this, I've got to do that, I've got to hit this milestone. If I hit this age and I'm not married with kids, and
I had to laugh because somebody brought that up before. I don't make it by this benchmark, my life is over. No,
right,
it's not.
exactly. I mean, even my own brother had like a midlife crisis when he hit 30 and didn't have a significant other and still hadn't paid off his car. But, we all have dreams and plans for our lives. I certainly didn't plan to get hurt and be a retiree in my 20s. It's a weird
absolutely.
But if you can find your purpose and find what makes you happy, then I don't think the rest of the milestones and other people's opinions even matter. Mm-hmm. And you'll find your own niche and find the people that are like you by following that path.
Oh, awesome. Hey, I love that. And do me a favor when I ask, because I need to know about your nonprofit. And when I switch, after we get done talking about that, I'm going to switch over to Eileen. But while we're doing it, if you could put in the chat your nonprofit so it'll show up on when we do the show, people can donate. And I'll pitch it at the end to make sure that, because this is going to run probably 30 more times. And we just want to get that information out there because I didn't have it, and that's shame on me. And, and Mike will make sure that we get it pushed out. So let's talk about your nonprofit.
Sure. I founded Mission Working Dogs in the summer of 2020. So right kind of in the middle of the pandemic. But the pandemic had kind of slowed my life down as far as sports being shut down. And I'm really, really passionate about the dogs and the difference they've made in my life. Moxie saved my life and has been invaluable in so many ways. And I wanted to be able to give that to others. There's so many people in need. There's so many people that don't fit the criteria of other groups. So like you said, with PTSD, most of the groups for veterans are for combat PTSD.
Right.
A lot of the groups are post 9/11 only. So what do you do with a Vietnam vet or who has combat PTSD, or say a post 9/11 vet whose PTSD is from stateside?
Absolutely. Hard. Me and Mike had this conversation. I'm glad you said that. You actually can work in a toxic environment, and it literally mentally could destroy you, just as though you were actually in a certain situations. And I don't think people really get it that when we use that term toxic leadership, and I'm not going to go down that road, but I'm just saying mental health these days, because of the telephones, because of social media, because of the way people approach other people, it is so it's not personal anymore. It is such a disconnect in our personalities. But go ahead.
No, just honestly, you're right. There's so many things that people either take for granted or don't understand. And even with other veterans, like as a veteran with PTSD and a veterans advocate, I get so used to encountering people that they may not know they have PTSD themselves, or don't believe it, or don't want to admit it. And they'll be like, no, I'm fine. I'm not nearly as bad as, something visible like mine, or somebody that they know who has really bad PTSD. But it doesn't have to be really bad to really impact your life.
Absolutely. Being
rated 50% is a 50% impact on a lot of situations in your life. So
yeah, you're spot on. And Dan, I need to make sure I say thank you for your service also. I won't forget about that. I tell anybody, you're in the 1% of people that serve their country. And I don't think a lot of people even know what the number is. People think there's a lot of people in the military, but on the average citizen, you may be the only one in 50 in that group that served in the military and did a tour. So you're in an elite group, but it's also can be a lonely group once you leave the service, because it depends on where you live. And so the fact that you're in sports gives you that camaraderie. That's why I still coach football. It gives me that camaraderie with the other coaches, and I still teach. And everybody goes, "You're a retired general. Why are you teaching?" Because there's a need when you leave the military to still kind of be around people and still have that brother and sisterhood. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And I'm really good at track and field, but I love hockey better because but that it's that camaraderie. It's the team environment and being able to lean on each other and have each other pick each other up. I really, really love team sports better.
Yeah, me too. So going forward, I'm tracking that we're gonna have a movie, right, Mike? Yeah. We're getting a song. Hey, so this, hey, I'm gonna throw something out there. Eileen, throw something out there. So we're gonna try in November. We're gonna have our veterans get together in our round table, and we're gonna have Ann Moss on there, who is who lost a son to suicide, but she's gonna come on, to talk about mental health. I would definitely want Christy on there. Definitely want you guys on there. So kind of, and so just giving that out there, invitation now, so get y'all for November. And I know you guys are busy, but Eileen, going forward, I know that you're going to be working on different things. So what is the best way for people to help support your cause for the projects you got going on to get Christy to where we need to be on the end state of making sure the nonprofit gets the support it needs?
Sure. The Lucky Little Guy Big Mission is available through my website, unforgettablefacesandsstories.com. It's kind of long, but you can go right through there. Or it is available on Amazon, but to be honest, we make more money going through my website because Amazon takes their percentage as well.
Okay.
Just being honest, but some people like to go through Amazon first. And then also Christy has a link on her website as well to donate to her nonprofit directly, and then to purchase the book, it links back to my website. And then also when Lucky 2 comes out, which May, June, we'll have something, obviously linked on that and new information about that in both books and things like that. And, hopefully the third book I'd like to see come out the end of next summer, beginning of fall. If we can, get that to happen. So
you're a grinder, man. You're a grinder. Oh my God. You must be like one of those people born in September, some of the most OCD people. You're a grinder.
I just like to keep busy. It's, it is healthy. It is healthy to do, and I love it. And, I lost my mom and my brother both in the same year. Back in the 80s, and that it does. And I ended up getting 4 puppies during that time, right afterwards, and that's what they were, my family. And there is that togetherness about dogs, and it does make you feel better. And in doing that, I think that because when you have a purpose for others, it helps you personally. So it's a win.
Okay. I'm gonna have to get Mike G a dog then. Is that what you're telling me?
A puppy.
Purpose.
A little puppy.
All right, so hey, before we wrap it up, Christy, I want to thank you and Eileen both for coming on. Christy, if you the advice you gave out there was great. I want you to keep driving on, and we're here. So when we're going to run and loop your show, we're going to make sure we have all the information for all you guys' donations and nonprofits. So every time the show runs, it'll be down in the bottom so people can look at it. And so I appreciate you both coming on. Mike, what do you have before we roll out, brother?
Guys, it's good to meet you. Keep it going. I want to see Lucky 1, 2, 3 in the theaters next summer or something. I don't know, not this, maybe next. It's going to take time.
Yeah, the film.
All right, and Christy, keep on doing your thing, man. You're a survivor. You're grinding. You're doing your thing. Congratulations.
And so as me and Mike always say, ladies, thank you so much for coming on the show. And as we always say, keep it rolling.